Howdy folks, this morning's soap is from Italian Barber. Not sure exactly how to pronounce all that. I'm just going to let you know that it's rose scented. This one here, this container here has got 4.2 ounces in it, and it comes with a seal or an extra lid, if you will. That's what it looks like there on the inside. And this one here, like a number of that one, it's pretty soft, but finding this one here might be a bit of a struggle trying to find one of these. Probably have to go to a buy-sell trade in order to find one. Got the alum block, no rubber band. Unscented witch hazel that's mentholated. I'm going to use the aftershave from Yulay, that's rose scented. And off camera I'll be using the Shaven Sailor Beard oil. The short little what little I know or think I know about these shavers. My shaver of the day, this is a 1955 flare tip, red. It does have two lines down here at the bottom. This groove right here, from what I understand, is not always present at this location on all of the flare tips. These flare tips come from the family of the super speeds, if you will. And this one here, I have a Gillette Silver Blue ready to go. Be the first time use on it. You'll notice that some of these are very similar. Their knurling will be just slightly different from flare tip to flare tip. This one here also has the two lines. But like for instance, this one here does not have a line on it at all. And from what I understand, these two are supposed to be pretty close in the shave that you get with them. And there is a bit of a difference though when you compare this one to the blue tip. The head is just a slightly, not quite as high as the blue tip, which is interesting. In other words, you can get the history of the flare tips. There's a lot of history there. Plus there's one that I don't have that's called the TV version. And just by looking at it, it will look similar to this one here, with the exception of the knurling will look similar to the blue tip. And don't have that one. Imagine that, huh? At any rate, when it comes to the flare tip family, that's part of the super speeds. You can pick up 3 of these flare tips, and if you wanted a mild, medium, or an aggressive shave, just pick the one you want and you'll get it. To me, I thought that was for somebody that likes to vary their shaves, but not necessarily liking the idea of an adjustable DE, that this might be a road to travel down. Just to pick up a few flare tips, and you'll have your quote-unquote your shave that you're looking for. They, if I'm not mistaken, I think also a variation also comes in the knurling up towards the top. There's a lot of little differences over the years. In other words, they're not all exactly the same, they're just slightly different. But as far as I know, in general, as it goes like the blue tip and the red tip and so on and so forth, they all shave the same, even though they're made just a tad bit different. Why the changes were made, who knows. Something to do with a manufacturing change, I guess, that made things easier perhaps. Got the lather whipped up here using a, if I can get it up, RazoRock synthetic knot. Got it whipped up pretty well in the bowl here. While I was working on the lather, had the radio on, and Guns N' Roses was on. So I got a little carried away with how much I was whipping up, because I whipped up quite a bit. And it's a little on the wet side. which is the way I like it. I know with working with the shave it or a straight razor, a little on the wet side provides just a little bit more glide, more slickness. Look at all that just dripped off there. Yeah, I was having fun. Get that off me there. Not that it matters. Go ahead and get started here. This is if you hunt long enough on eBay or Etsy, your favorite place to shop for vintage shavers, there's a good chance you're finally going to get that shaver you're looking for at the price you want, or at least close. Because I know most of these I had to wait a while. Just kept on working at it. As it goes for the black handled one and the blue tip, they're supposed to be both mild shavers, but I haven't shaved with the black one here recent enough to be able to speak to if they actually shave the same or not. I'll put a link down below. There's a gentleman that has a picture of about 8 flare tips lined up next to each other, and that might give you a kind of an idea that there's just a slight difference in between some of them. Now the TV one is one that some folks think that their knurling looks better. And I can't remember how long it was made. I don't remember if it was just for 1 year or if it was for 2 years. In other words, it was limited. It wasn't a long run by any means. Especially taking consideration how long flare tips have been made. The black one was made into the 80s, and needless to say, the red tip I've got, it's a 55 model, and it's not, I don't think that was the first year. It might have been, but I don't think so. To have all those flare tips must have been pretty cool to have them all. I don't think, unless you, I guess you might say, do a deep dive into these, knew that there was that much of a difference in between them. And it seems like they made, I could be wrong, it just seems this way to me when you look at availability of flare tips, that the medium correction one seemed to make, maybe it's more popular, made more of them. So those might be easier to get a hold of. And I do notice that it seems like the black handled ones seem to be, in some cases, run a little bit more. Maybe because they're in better shape, I don't know. Don't seem to be to me, but the one of the things I seem to notice about these two particular flare tips more so than others is that both of these models right up in here seem to have a little bit more of an issue of corrosion. It's hard to get it to clean up. Get the impression that it doesn't like to be cleaned up. I know this one here one of these days I'd like to go ahead and plated. Don't see very many blue tips out for sale. It's working pretty good so far. Definitely need a third pass though. For me, it's kind of interesting, fun to, I guess you might say, learn about the history of these shavers that were designed so far. I mean, face it, 1955. Very nice shaver. It's just too bad they don't make them today like this. I don't think I mentioned it. I'll finish up here before I lose my place again. I also have a, I have one Wishi that's black. You see it labeled PVD. That's the plating process, if you will. And I've gotten pretty good shaves with it. Can't complain a bit. Quite happy I got it. Matter of fact, I've had it for a while. And when I moved a few months back, spent quite a bit of time with it, shaving with it. It's a nice shaver. It is very similar to the flare tips, if you will, but it is just a tad bit different. The Wishi looks very much similar in design, but even with this head being, how can you say, lower, not near as tall, the Wishi to me looks like it's even a shallower head than the Gillette. This one here, oh, comes with the end cap also. If that matters to anybody, I enjoy shaving with it. It's a good shaver. Back when I got it, I think I paid $15 ship. You've seen some of my videos, that is the thing, keeping it inexpensive for the most part. Sometimes it's not always possible, face it. There's some of these shavers, if you're wanting one, you're going to have to pay for it. For instance, if you're looking for a slim or a fat boy, if it's going to be in very good shape, you're going to need to probably fork out some bucks. You're going to be a little bit more expensive. You can get a slim or a fat boy that, to look at it, you know, to the eye, it may not be pleasing to look at, but it's still very functional. Shaves just fine. It just not, it's not going to win a beauty contest, that's all. So it really depends on what you're looking for. And with the, there's a few places out there that will replate your twist open Gillette for you. Probably one of the better known ones is Razor Emporium, and there's one that's on Etsy that Jimmy used. Backroads, darn it, I can't remember the last part of it. It slipped my mind. Anyhow, he plates, replates a twist open adjustables, and just like anything else, when you're sending it in, if it's got some deep scratches or anything like that, in other words, they don't perform miracles, okay? Even though sometimes it may look like it when you get it back. There's certain limitations when it comes to replating and what a person can do to bring it back to life. It's just something to keep in mind when you're buying the excuse me, if you're wanting to buy your own and then ship it to somebody. That'd be something to pay close attention to, is what kind of damage, I guess you might say, has been done to the shaver. Because in other words, if it's in an overall good shape, you're just talking about plating loss, maybe a minor adjustment in the blade alignment. In other words, Razor Emporium would be able to handle it. And there's others out there. There's another one that I've ran across, and I cannot remember the name of it right off the top of my head. But if you look hard enough, you'll find some folks out there that'll replate your shaver for you, as well as customize it if you want different colors. As plentiful as these are, in other words, I wouldn't have an issue sending one in to have it done up in some wild colors, if you will. I like what Jimmy did with his plastic, his 3D one. Change the colors of it. That was a pretty good idea. I don't have any problem with that. Some might, but I don't. Change it from what's original, the way you found it. There's one thing for sure about this kind of shaving. It is definitely an art. Even more so when it comes when you're shaving with something along the lines of a shavette, straight razor. There's definitely an art to it. It may look real easy on the video, but when you get ready to do it yourself, yeah, there's a real art to learning how to shave like that. Even with these, there's a learning curve. Not going to be able to make that jump straight from a cartridge razor or electric and start using these kind of shavers and think that everything is going to work out for you. There's a learning curve. There's some stuff you need to look into. Gentle pressure, angle, finding the right blade to go with the shaver with the kind of shave that you're looking for. If you're having irritation, pretty easy with a cartridge on your neck. For instance, you might want to go to something like this. And if you're only wanting to get one razor, you definitely would want to look at getting an adjustable and start with that lowest setting. And do your research on your blades on what most people would consider a mild blade. In other words, derby fits right in there. That derby blade just might do the trick on a 1 or 2 setting when you're trying to shave on your neck, and then your cheeks you can change your setting to be more aggressive. Just something to think about when you're first starting out, or starting to feel that irritation on along your neck, because that's where it seems like where most people experience their irritation is down on their neck. Have to say, rose scent. I like this soap. This soap, the scent is present. I would not consider it, especially coming right off the puck, I would not consider it. It's not light. I would say about medium in the strength. My first rose soap, scented soap, and aftershave was from Yulay, and I didn't think I would like it, but I wasn't real sure that I'd have to try it in order to, I guess you might say, pass judgment. And I like it. I got the soap that matches this one here, and I really like the rose scent. And it is, I would consider it no less than medium strength. It's got some strength to it. Now, as it goes for longevity, that might be a different answer, because my nose is not the best in the world. So how long I notice it, I would say at least on the aftershave a good 2 hours, this one here, for my nose. Somebody else says it could be longer, it could be shorter, it just depends on your nose. And even the scent coming off of the brush is still there. And this is, you know, I whipped this up before I even get started. So it's been whipped up for a moment. Well, I'm coming up on, what, 19 going into 20 minutes, so it's been probably close to 25 minutes since it's been whipped up, so that should give you some kind of idea about the scent strength of the soap. If you can find it. I still have mine. Great shave, and yes, I really do enjoy shaving with the flare tips. They're a lot of fun. I enjoy it. When I get one in, it is. Hope everybody's doing well. Stay safe, and smooth shaves to you.